The city of Rome and its history from Romulus and Remus to the Third Punic War. According to the founding myth of Rome, the city was founded on the 21st of April 753 BC on the banks of the river Tiber in central Italy by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, who descended from the Trojan prince Aeneas and who were grandsons of the Latin king Numitor of Alba Longa. King Numitor was deposed by his brother Romulus, while Numitor's daughter Rhea Silvia gave birth to the twins. Since Rhea Silvia had been raped and impregnated by Mars, the Roman god of war, the twins were considered half divine. The new king, Romulus, feared Romulus and Remus would take back the throne, so he ordered them to be drowned. A she-wolf, or a shepherd's wife in some accounts, saved and raised them, and when they were old enough, they returned the throne of Alba Longa to Numitor. The twins then founded their own city, but Romulus killed Remus in a quarrel over the location of the Roman kingdom, though some sources state the quarrel was about who was going to rule or give his name to the city. Romulus became the source of the city's name. In order to attract people to the city, Rome became a sanctuary for the indigent, exiled, and unwanted. This caused a problem, in that Rome came to have a large male population, but was bereft of women. Romulus visited neighbouring towns and tribes and attempted to secure marriage rights, but as Rome was so full of undesirables, he was refused. Legend says that the Latins invited the Sabines to a festival and stole their unmarried maidens, leading to the integration of the Latins with the Sabines. Another legend, recorded by Greek historian Dionysius of Halicarnassus, says that Prince Aeneas led a group of Trojans on a sea voyage to find a new Troy, since the original was destroyed at the end of the Trojan War. After a long time in rough seas, they landed on the banks of the Tiber River. Not long after they landed, the men wanted to take to the sea again, but the women who were travelling with them did not want to leave. One woman, named Roma, suggested that the women burn the ships out at sea to prevent their leaving. At first the men were angry with Roma, but they soon realised that they were in the ideal place to settle. They named the settlement after the woman who torched their ships. The Roman poet Virgil recounted this legend in his classical epic poem, the Aeneid, where the Trojan prince Aeneas is destined by the gods to find a new Troy. In the epic, the women also refused to go back to the sea, but they were not left on the Tiber. After reaching Italy, Aeneas, who wanted to marry Lavinia, was forced to wage war with her former suitor Turnus. According to the poem, the Alban kings were descended from Aeneas, and thus Romulus, the founder of Rome, was his descendant. Kingdom. The city of Rome grew from settlements around a ford on the river Tiber, a crossroads of traffic and trade. According to archaeological evidence, the village of Rome was probably founded sometime in the 8th century BC, though it may go back as far as the 10th century BC by members of the Latin tribe of Italy on the top of the Palatine Hill. The Etruscans, who had previously settled to the north in Etruria, seem to have established political control in the region by the late 7th century BC, forming an aristocratic and monarchical elite. The Etruscans apparently lost power by the late 6th century BC, and at this point, the original Latin and Sabine tribes reinvented their government by creating a republic, with much greater restraints on the ability of rulers to exercise power. Roman tradition and archaeological evidence point to a complex within the Forum Romanum as the seat of power for the king and the beginnings of the religious centre there as well. Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome succeeding Romulus, began Rome's building projects with its royal palace, the Regia, and the complex of the Vestal Virgins. Republic. According to tradition, and later writers such as Livy, the Roman Republic was established around 509 BC, when the last of the 7 kings of Rome, Tarquin the Proud, was deposed by Lucius Junius Brutus. An a system based on annually elected magistrates and various representative assemblies was established. A constitution set a series of checks and balances and a separation of powers. The most important magistrates were the 2 consuls, who together exercised executive authority such as imperium or military command. The consuls had to work with the Senate, which was initially an advisory council of the ranking nobility or patricians, but grew in size and power. Other magistrates of the Republic include tribunes, caestors, aediles, praetors, and censors. The magistracies were originally restricted to patricians, but were later open to the common people, or plebeians as they were known. Republican voting assemblies included the Comitia Centuriata, which voted on matters of war and peace and elected men to the most important offices, and the Comitia Tributa, which elected less important offices. In the 4th century BC, Rome had come under attack by the Gauls, who now extended their power in the Italian peninsula beyond the Po Valley and through Etruria. On the 16th of July 390 BC, a Gallic army under the leadership of tribal chieftain Brennus met the Romans on the banks of the Allia River 10 miles north of Rome. Brennus defeated the Romans and the Gauls marched to Rome. Most Romans had fled the city, but some barricaded themselves upon the Capitoline Hill for a last stand. The Gauls looted and burned the city, then laid siege to the Capitoline Hill. The siege lasted 7 months. The Gauls then agreed to give the Romans peace in exchange for £1,000 of gold. According to later legend, the Romans supervising the weighing noticed that the Gauls were using false scales. The Romans then took up arms and defeated the Gauls. Their victorious general Camillus remarked, "With iron, not with gold, Rome buys her freedom." The Romans gradually subdued the other peoples of the Italian peninsula, including the Etruscans. The last threat to Roman homogeny in Italy came when Tarentum, a major Greek colony, enlisted the aid of Pyrrhus of Epirus in 281 BC, but this effort failed as well. The Romans secured their conquest by founding Roman colonies in strategic areas, thereby establishing stable control over the region of Italy they had conquered. Punic Wars. In the 3rd century BC, Rome faced a new and formidable opponent, Carthage. Carthage was a rich, flourishing Phoenician city-state that intended to dominate the Mediterranean area. The two cities were allies in the times of Pyrrhus, who was a menace to both, but with Rome's homogeny in mainland Italy and the Carthaginian thalassocracy, these cities became the two major powers in the western Mediterranean, and their contention over the Mediterranean led to conflict. The First Punic War began in 264 BC, when the city of Messana asked for Carthage's help in their conflicts with Hiero II of Syracuse. After the Carthaginian intercession, Messana asked Rome to expel the Carthaginians. Rome entered this war because Syracuse and Messana were too close to the newly conquered Greek cities of southern Italy, and Carthage was now able to make an offensive through Roman territory. Along with this, Rome could extend its domain over Sicily. Although the Romans had experience in land battles, defeating this new enemy required naval battles. Carthage was a maritime power, and the Roman lack of ships and naval experience made the path to victory a long and difficult one for the Roman Republic. Despite this, after more than 20 years of war, Rome had defeated Carthage and a peace treaty was signed. Among the reasons for the Second World War was the subsequent war reparations Carthage had to pay at the end of the First Punic War. The Second Punic War is famous for its brilliant generals. On the Punic side, Hannibal and Hasdrubal. On the Roman, Marcus Claudius Marcellus, Quintus Fabius Maximus Verrucosus, and Publius Cornelius Scipio. Rome fought this war simultaneously with the First Macedonian War. The war began with the audacious invasion of Hispania by Hannibal, son of Hamilcar Barca, a Carthaginian general who had led operations on Sicily towards the end of the First Punic War. Hannibal rapidly marched through Hispania to the Italian Alps, causing panic among Rome's Italian allies. The best way found to defeat Hannibal's purpose of causing the Italians to abandon Rome was to delay the Carthaginians with a guerrilla war of attrition, a strategy propounded by Quintus Fabius Maximus, who would later be named Cunctator, delayer in Latin, and whose strategy would forever after this be known as Fabian. Due to this, Hannibal's goal was unachieved. He could not bring enough Italian cities to revolt against Rome and replenish his diminished army, and thus he lacked the machines and manpower to besiege Rome. Still, Hannibal's invasion lasted over 16 years, ravaging Italy. Finally, when the Romans perceived the depletion of Hannibal's supplies, they sent Scipio, who had defeated Hannibal's brother Hasdrubal in modern-day Spain, to invade the unprotected Carthaginian hinterland and force Hannibal to defend Carthage himself. The result was the ending of the Second Punic War by the famously decisive Battle of Zama in October 202 BC, which gave to Scipio his agnomen Africanus. At great cost, Rome had made significant gains. The conquest of Hispania by Scipio and of Syracuse, the last Greek realm in Sicily, by Marcellus. More than half a century after these events, Carthage was humiliated and Rome was no more concerned about the African menace. The Republic's focus now was only to the Hellenistic kingdoms of Greece and revolts in Hispania. However, Carthage, having paid the war indemnity, felt that its commitments and submission to Rome had ceased, a vision not shared by the Roman Senate. When in 151 BC Numidia invaded Carthage, Carthage asked for Roman intercession. Among them was Marcus Porcius Cato, who after seeing that Carthage could make a comeback and regain its importance, ended all his speeches, no matter what the subject was, by saying, "Ceterum censeo Carthaginem esse delandum." Furthermore, I think that Carthage must be destroyed. As Carthage fought with Numidia without Roman consent, the Third Punic War began when Rome declared war against Carthage in 149 BC. Carthage resisted, well at the first strike, with the participation of all the inhabitants of the city. However, Carthage could not withstand the attack of Scipio Aemilianus, who entirely destroyed the city and all its walls, enslaved and sold all the citizens and gained control of that region, which became the province of Africa. Thus ended the Punic War period. All these wars resulted in Rome's first overseas conquests, Sicily, Hispania and Africa, and the rise of Rome as a significant imperial power, and began the end of democracy. Well, that's it for today. Thank you guys for coming on this journey with us from the 21st of April 753 BC all the way to 146 BC. And don't forget to subscribe if you have enjoyed it so far. We have a lot more to cover and it's coming soon to the Orator of Histories. We hope you guys have enjoyed this one and we will see you in the next video.